Hey YouTube, Phazon Juke here. Sorry it's been such a while since I last made a video. I've just had a pretty rough last 2 months, and a lot of unexpected things came up. Anyways, I'm ready to start uploading videos again, and I thought that since this is my first video in a really long time, I should do something really special. And so this is a deck that I've been working on for a while. It just popped up in my head one day, and I've already gone through a few different builds of it. And currently, I'm working on this build, and I'm liking how it works. And maybe you guys will have some recommendations for me, or whatever. But I'll give you the full deck list, show you how the deck works and what it's capable of. So, anyways, this deck focuses around using these three cards: Red Nova, Shooting Star, and Judgment Dragon. Now, for the deck list. And I'll give you a pretty in-depth explanation as to why I use certain cards and whatnot. Anyways, we have two Judgment Dragons. They come out quite often in this deck, and they are not necessarily the card you rely on. The best thing about him is you just drop him on the field, pay 1,000 life points, wipe the board, and then you go in for the kill with either Red Nova or Shooting Star. Actually, every time I've summoned Shooting Star or Red Nova, I've won the duel. He's just like your insurance policy to clear the field for them. Then I use two Lila Lightsworn Sorceress. She is my favorite Lightsworn monster. All you do is summon her, and almost all the time you'll get a card with her effect. And then on top of that, you mill 3, and usually the way this deck's set up, you mill 3 very necessary cards for yourself. And people, for some reason, I don't know why, they usually don't view her as a threat, and they will leave her on the field like morons or whatever. But very good card, and I'm actually contemplating on using 3 of them. It's too good to be able to destroy cards all the time. I'm using one wolf. Using one wolf mainly just because he's another name for Judgment Dragon, and aside from that is by using one, you hardly ever draw him, and you almost always mill him, so he's a free card whenever he comes out. Just he's a luck card basically. I'm liking him at 1. I may or may not keep him in the deck because right now the Lightsworns I'm using, I'm trying to figure out the perfect ratio of Lightsworns and whatnot. I'm using one Gareth Lightsworn Warrior. He's good after you keep like your Lila or your Lumina on the field for a while. He just gives you usually some extra draws, which is kind of necessary in this deck. Then I run one Jane. She's just the I need to get over something right now card. Good Lightsworn. One Arcus to prevent my opponent from targeting my Lightsworn monsters. He also protects my cards from D-Prison, stuff like that. And Book of Moons, stuff like that. One Lumina, just because sometimes I'll need to mill tons of cards at once, and by summoning Lumina and reborning another Lightsworn monster, that helps me get off my mills for that turn. 2 Raikou, only because I run 3 Book of Moons in this deck, and flipping a Raikou, then Book of Mooning him back down is like the most hilarious thing in the world, and helps me mill tons of cards. Now, for the other engine in this deck, I run 3 Flamvell Firedogx. This is probably the most important card in the entire deck. Whenever you destroy a monster by battle, you get to, and send it to the graveyard, you get to special summon a Flamvell monster aside from Flamvell Firedogx from your deck. Now, usually, what you would do with Flamvell Firedogx is you'd special summon a Flamvell Magician, and that's an instant 8-star. Now, whereas that's very good and all, since this deck mills most of the cards you need, you won't always need to special summon a Flamvell Magician. So what I use with Firedogx is usually he's like my setup. Since I run 2 Archers, 2 Babies, and 2 Flamvell Pounx, they're less likely to get milled. And so what you usually do with the Firedogx is you use him to set up your resources, what you need to mill in the graveyard. And this deck, once you fill up the field, it's usually pretty hard for your opponent to get rid of it. And they usually don't want to get rid of it because they know you'll have like a Judgment Dragon or something waiting in your hand. So I usually have a lot of resources with this deck. There's been so many times where I've had full fields of like Flamvell Firedogx with 2 random Light Sworns and like a Flamvell Archer or something. Not to mention Flamvell Archer, I contribute him off, increase my Firedog's attack, and then maybe ditch a baby from my hand and increase his attack even more, and then run over something like, I don't know, my Firedog would have just gained 1200 attack, so I can run over just about anything with that kind of attack. Now, the reason you have to use Poon, Baby, and Archer is because Poon and Baby give you access to Formula Synchron, which if you play your cards right in this deck, you can actually go JD, Field Blow Up, summon a Formula Synchron, whatever, go through all your stuff. You'll summon Shooting Star Dragon, and then you can still summon a Red Nova Dragon that duel. It's ridiculous. And the Archer is a 3-star tuner, and to summon Red Nova, you need 2 tuners, so that's why you have Archer and Baby. They give you access to Red Nova. Now, Gold Sarcophagus. I'm thinking of maybe using 2. Gold Sarcophagus, the only real purpose this card serves in this deck is to ensure I get any part of the combo. So usually when I activate Gold Sarcophagus, I will search for either Charge of the Light Brigade, Solar Recharge, or a Rekindling. Charge and Solar are necessary to maintain speed in this deck, and the Rekindling is really broken when you can just summon a JD, blow up the field, and then rekindle everything, and then sink like 5 times. It's ridiculous. That's what Gold Sarcophagus is for. Then we have 1 Pot of Duality. I'm still not sure how I feel about this card. Sometimes it speeds things up and makes it more consistent. Sometimes it will actually slow me down, so I don't know. I'm going to keep this at 1 for now. We have 1 Charge of the Light Brigade. Basically mill 3 cards and add whatever Light Sworn you need at the time. So you usually go for either Lumina or Lila, because those are the 2 best in my opinion. We have 3 Solar Recharge. You'll usually get one of these in your opening hand as well with a Light Sworn monster. So that allows you to just get 2 cards and dump 2 necessary cards. So it's really good. You get your cards in the graveyard for Judgment Dragon as well as setting up for Rekindling plays later on in the duel. Then we have 3 Book of Moon. This is a good card. I don't really need to explain it. You disrupt synchro plays, and basically you can chain it to whatever. So good card. And like I said before earlier, I love flipping my Raikos and then flipping them right back face down. Then we have 3 Rekindling. Now, this card, all it does is it special summons as many Flamvell monsters from your graveyard as possible. Now, here lies where this card's so good. Like, so many people are playing Gravekeepers now and stuff like that. This card does not target. So this card does not get hindered by Necro Valley or anything. So you'll be playing Gravekeeper duelists and they'll think they're completely fine because at first they'll think you're playing a Lightsworn build and like, oh, I'm totally alright. Then you activate Rekindling, and the way this card actually works, even if they had DD Crow or something, and they ask you your targets, you actually don't have to pick your targets with this card, because this card special summons as many as possible. So if targets are removed, you still have to special summon as many Flamvell monsters as possible. So I believe the way the card works is targets are chosen at the resolution of the card. So they can't like DD Crow a target away or something. So if they pick like your Flamvell Firedogx and Flamvell Magician or something, and you still have 5 other viable targets in your grave or whatever, you can still summon 5 cards. It's very good, and this will allow for ridiculous amounts of synchro summoning. You can either go for your Red Nova and Shooting Star Dragon, or I've even done before just for lulz, just summon 2 Stardust and 2 Red Dragon Archfiends. Very good. We have 1 Giant Trunade. This is just when you don't have the Judgment Dragon or whatever. You just activate Giant Trunade, then you go Rekindling. It's just to be safe. This is you're gonna use this, of course. Giant Trunade always sets up for OTKs. So we have 1 Foolish Burial. depending on your situation, you're either going to send the Lightsworn monster, preferably Wolf, to the graveyard to bait out a card or something, or you're going to send out the necessary Flamvell monster for Rekindling. Or sometimes you're just going to send the monster for Judgment Dragon because you already have everything else set up. So yeah, good card. We have one Solemn Judgment, just to protect your big pushes for game. That's about it. We have one Solemn Warning. I was thinking of using two, but I really hate paying 2,000 life points more than once on top of the other possible 4,000 with Solemn Judgment. And then we have the final card in the deck, Beckoning Light. This is the only card in the deck that I'm definitely taking out. It hasn't really seemed to be helping. I mean, when you think about it, it's like, oh, I have a handful of Flamvell monsters, dump them in the graveyard, and then pull all my Lightsworn stuff back out or whatever. In theory, it sounds like it'd work amazing, but it never really seems to do that. So I'm probably going to be replacing this with something else. Possibly a Morphing Jar or maybe a Mirror Force. I don't know yet. But there are a few cards in this deck that I'm still not completely 100% sure about, and this deck is still in its testing stages. So overall, I like the deck very much. It's very fast, and every time I summon the Judgment Dragon, no one survives anything. JD comes out, and he's just, like I said, I don't need to win with the Judgment Dragon, but it's hilarious when you summon the Judgment Dragon, and then your opponent tries to stop that. They do. And then you summon your second one. Maybe they stop that too, but then you show them what the deck really does, and you activate your Rekindlings, and you go absolutely nuts summoning Red Nova Dragon. Now, onto my Synchro deck. I run 2 Red Nova Dragons. There is such a high amount of tuners in this deck that whenever this card comes out, he usually has a minimum of like 5,500 attack. Usually, actually, the most common attack he usually has in this deck is 65 to 7,000 attack, and I've never lost with him out on the field. I usually win the same turn he comes out. Then we run one Shooting Star Dragon. Again, I have so many tuners in this deck that you can actually activate his effect in this deck and possibly hit 2 to 3 tuners off of his effect, and you win the duel. Oh, plus, with this card, I'll usually leave a Stardust and a Formula Synchron on the field. My opponent targets something, and then you chain the effect of a Formula Synchron Synchro Summon. They lost their target, whatever, and then you get a free awesome card. On top of, you got whatever Formula Synchron allows you to draw. I run one Mistworm. He doesn't come out as often now since I took a Plague Spreader out, but I'm thinking of putting the Plague back in maybe. I don't know. Mistworm's still one of my favorite tuners. He allows for very disruptive plays, and usually your opponent never sees him coming. I don't know why. He's one of the best synchros in the game in my opinion. We have 2 Red Dragon Archfiends. A lot of people think they're a waste in like extra decks or whatever, but every time I summon this card, no one ever has an answer to him, so he's helped me out a lot. He's stronger than Stardust, and I think he is actually a better card in most cases. In the situations I summon him in, I usually don't even need to summon Red Nova Dragon. Red Dragon Archfiend will win the duel for me. I have 2 Stardust Dragons. Again, good card. I use him usually just to bait stuff out. The main point of the deck is summoning the Red Nova Dragon, not really the Shooting Star, but I will only summon Stardust with the Formula Synchron on the field, which is so easy to do because of Rekindling. One Black Rose, obviously what you know what it's in for. One Bryanak. This is usually just to dump cards from my hand to set up Rekindling plays or just summoning Judgment Dragon. One Goyo, steal whatever good crap's on my opponent's side of the field. Tempest, can't summon her anymore, so I don't even know why she's in here. If I put Plague Spreader back in, the reason she's in here is for Lila, because she's actually really good. I've always burned people to death whenever I summon this card. One Catastor, very easy to summon, Flamvell Firedogx, and any of the 1-star tuners. Armory Arm, Flamvell Archer and Flamvell Pounx equal this card, and then, you know, you equip it to Firedogg or something. Good. And then one Formula Synchron, basically just summon this card, get my free draw, and then screw over my opponent. Then I'll usually chain its effect to something they activate and summon Shooting Star Dragon. Very good card. Anyways, that's my deck. I hope you enjoyed it. I have to hurry up because the time's about to run out. Leave your creative comments, suggestions, whatever in the comments below. Peace, YouTube. Thank you.